Pollination. In order for sexual reproduction, the process of pollination is required by plants. Wind. Through the action of wind, early seed plants were able to pollinate passively. Many angiosperms are wind-pollinated, and their flowers are small, greenish, odorless, and with reduced or absent petals. They will shed pollen freely in the wind as the tassels hang down and wave about freely. There is a large amount of pollen produced due to the inefficiency of wind pollination. Compatibility with the same species is ensured by the different pollen grain structures. Australian plant species are pollinated due to wind. The anthers are quite long and produce large amounts of light pollen in which the wind picks up. In order to receive pollen, stigmas are significantly large and spread out. Animals. The transfer of pollen is ensured when flowers attract animals. Animals that act as pollinators search for nectar or pollen in which found in flowers. The scent, color, and shape of the nectaries are significantly enticing them. Wind-pollinated plants produce much more than bird-pollinated flowers. The watertile flowers attract many birds due to its bright red color. The bird of paradise has a complex mechanism for acquiring pollination from birds. The possums, bats, and small rodents also contribute to pollination. They distribute seeds and fruit that are found in the bush and garden throughout Australia. Examples include the Banksia and Callistemon species. Insects. The most common insect-pollinated angiosperm is grouped pollinated by bees. Odor is initially the way in which bees locate food and will position themselves depending on the flower's color, texture, and shape. The grass trigger plant is an effective plant of bee-pollinated flower. The stylidium is triggered to stamp pollen onto the bee in the same exact spot which a stigma from another flower pick it up. This occurs when bee crawls inside the flower for nectar. Other examples of Australian native plants that are pollinated by bees are bottlebrush, eucalyptus, and grevillea. Seed dispersal. The seed develops after successful pollination and fertilization of the flower. The chance of survival in case of fire or disease is increased when the seeds of the plant are dispersed over a wide distance. In order to aid with the effective and successful dispersal of seeds, the Australian native plants have developed a variety of adaptation. The Pisonia pittosporum have hooks and barbs that allow them to stick or cling to animals' fur or feathers in order to be carried long distances. It is highly likely for birds to disperse seeds that are enclosed in fruits or berries due to its bright color. Wattle seeds such as the mandra and grevillea have lipids attached to their outside by which ants carry to the nest where they consume lipids, leaving the seeds underground, isolated from the fire. Even after bushfires, wattles are able to flourish and grow. The making of new individuals without the presence of sex cells or gametes is defined as asexual reproduction. Examples of this include binary fission, spore formation, and regeneration. Vegetative reproduction is when parts of adults form cloned plant individuals. Long thin stems grow along the surface of soils in which some plants reproduce by. Leaves, flowers, and roots such as spinifex grass are produced at every other node on the runner. One of the more infrequent forms of asexual reproduction is seen in plants is budding. It is by reproducing asexually can plants gain advantage of seed dispersal. This is an adaptation as well as a rapid duplication of plants. A single plant cell generates an entire plant. This is known as totipotency. Embryo-like structures are formed when free cells that are separated off from the pieces of tissues are divided. Clones of the original plant are then formed by transplanting it onto a solid medium where light is available.